Okay, YouTube, Max One Chase One again. Again, we talked about earlier about the removal of the reed control valve, and this is my pull number 5 of the carburetors. And just to kind of let you know, this is my bike. It is the F4B, and they're coming out easier and easier. But as soon as I get rid of this reed control valve, that's gonna be a whole lot easier. Now, when we talked about this hose here, and like I said, this hose comes out, this thing right here, let me go to this. This thing is called an anti-afterburner valve. What in the hell is a motorcycle doing with an afterburner? But then again, these some bad bikes, I can understand it. Alright, but going back to this hose here, this hose will remain here, and this hose will follow along here, and you know it's a T here. Now what I'm going to do is to get me a junction that would join this hose and this hose together and eliminate all of this. And this hose here is going to go off and go right into the number 4 carburetor PVC valve. Alright, so the same thing, this is where I'm at right now. Get ready to take these 3 screws out. And okay, YouTube, down here in the shed on the table. And like I said, I've taken off the control valve, and what I did is that I'm getting ready to put some Permatex on here to continue on with the sealing of this area here. But remember, when you seal this area here, you got to make sure that you put these 2 bolts back in. If you decide to go without this plate here and you decide to just plug that hole up, you still got to cover these 2 bolts here, 3 bolts here, because they go all the way into the tube, so you can kind of see all the way through it. So make sure you put something here to block this one off, and when I put my plate on, it's going to cover these 2. Now also too, I talked about replacing your PVC lines. I replaced the PVC lines. Instead of me using these flimsy PVC clips, I went with a zip tie. I was told you can use a zip tie, and they are working really great. So the same thing, I can just cheat it by sticking a small object in there and releasing it and take it off, or either just cut it, and there you go. Now I didn't replace this one because it seemed like it was in good shape, in really good shape. Now you know, when I took this one that was going from here going around to this anti-afterburn valve, I think this is the afterburn valve, I'm sorry. We're going to this valve here that I went in my synchronizer box where I had some clips in there, and I just took the hose from here, joined it with a fresh hose that goes to the number 4 intake, and there you have it. So now that's joined. Alright, so now I'm going to show you the reed control valve, what I did to for the vacuum that's on the heads, for the head intakes up under the intakes of the carburetors. I'm going to show you what I did for that. Okay, remember when I talked earlier that I was going to cut these valves off right here? But what I decided to do before I decided to cut them, I just took them loose from here and just took them away from the reed control valve. And what I did before I took them off, I numbered each one. There's 3 to 3, 4 and 4, 2 and 2, and 1 to 1. So if I ever had to put them back on, I know where they came from. So this has no purpose or no function whatsoever. I'm still gonna hold on to it just in case if things go south and might have to put it back on. But what I did with these hoses here, instead of me cutting them here, I left them like they are because I can set it in the head gasket and pull it off to the side, and the carburetors can come right on in. But what I did is that I took a bolt, put me some flexed Teflon tape on it. I didn't go that far. I just went about, I took a bolt and took my grinder and I just cut off a piece of this bolt that fits snugly in here. And I put the Teflon in there, pushed it in there, screwed it in there, and then I put the clip back on it. So now when I put it back on the motorcycle, I can have these out the way, and the intake can fit right on top of it. No interference. All right. Okay, going back to the carburetor. To the carbs. I've taken before I put these hoses back on, I took my compressed air and I blowed air in this end, and air was coming out of this carb and this carb, and you can hear it going down the tube to this carb and this carb. And the same thing for this one. It was going through the tube, down the conjunction tube between the two, and air was coming out here and out of here. Some people have asked about, it's a little, look like it's a PVC valve that's right back up in there. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's right there. And when I was blowing air into this line, that the gas was, some leftover gas was coming out of that line. So what that little valve is, it don't have anything to go to it. If your bowls are sticking, your inlet valve that lets gas in, if it's stuck open and it started to fill up, it'll come out of that hole there. So the same thing, that's about that. So now you can kind of see I got the Permatex setting up. I'm going to get ready to put that plate on it, and I'm going to show you what it looks like after I put it on. Okay, YouTube, there it is. It's set up, and I've torqued it down so it's got even pressure throughout this whole opening here, and that should be sealing it. I put the screw back into this side. Now this is one section that I might have said the other day that the choke goes this way, but as you realize it, the choke goes in the opposite direction. When you engage the choke, you pull the lever, and that's the way it goes. Choke on, choke off. Choke on, choke off. So when you see something that need to be corrected, wind up and set and correct it. I'm going to show you this one little thing, but I don't know if everybody wants to do it or not. Hold on a second. Here's another little trick that I don't know if you guys want to do it, but you can do it. Wouldn't hurt anything. You know where your choke lever goes through this little clip here, and it engages the choke here. And everybody's been taking these two screws loose and forgetting all about this one. So what you can do, you see that little ring that's right there, that little circle that looks like it's a pre-indent? You can take a drill and drill through that, the size of a good screwdriver, to fit this bolt here on this side, and you can reach it from the top and loosen this clamp up so you can get the choke wire out so you can disengage the choke. It's not inside the tub, it's right on the outside. Let me flip it up so you can kind of see it better. I'm gonna flip it up over and easy. It is right here. It's not interfering with going inside the tub, and it's right there in that corner, about right there. Right there. Alright, I might do that. See if it helps, saves me any time if I had to take the carburetors out again. Alright. Okay, YouTube. Dang it, for the 5th time. This time I have blowed everything out, stuck an air hose and everything that I can stick an air hose in. I've got air coming out of those little holes, even a little side orifice right here. You name it, I had air coming out of it, and everything seemed like it's going pretty good. Now this is another tech tip if you want to do it if you're ever cleaning your carburetors. I numbered the base 1 and 1 on the 3 base on the carburetor bowl 3, and the same thing 4 and 4, 2 and 2. So that way if you clean them and you turn them around and you say was on the other side or was on this side, you can say either you're doing the left side or the right side. Alright, I've got my tubes here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to place these on the intakes and slide them out of the way. You know, do a turn on them out of the way and show you how easy the carburetors come in, and no issue, no problem. I hope that's the way it works. Alright, stand by. Okay, YouTube, here's another tech tip. You know, and I tell you about that vacuum line that's right here and is in between 2 and 4. It's right here. This is the line that comes all the way from that PC port up here by the PC thing up here. You probably can see where the junction is. It's a vacuum line that goes into here. Goes right on into there. So what I'm saying is it's easier to take it loose from here than to try to remember to put it back on to here. Just let all of this line come with the carburetors if you have to take them out. Trying to get it back onto here with a clip or whatever is going to be a beast. So I'm going to wind up and I'm going to install it here now, and I'll cut the line, or either I would pull that zip tie off there and take it off from there if I ever had to take it off. That's another FYI. Alright, YouTube, here I am. I'm ready to put these air module ports, or whatever word you want to call them. I'm looking for number 4. So what I do, I just take number 4, stick it in here, slide it out the way. See how it is out the way? And if it works right, I just come back in, I just cut it right there. And I'm going to do the same thing with number 3. Not number 3, number 2. And then same thing for number 1 and 3. I'm not going to show you me doing each one so you know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to put it out of the way. And also too, if I prefer, I would rather have it somewhere else, I would stick it over in here. I think it's going to interfere with the gas line, so I'm going to leave it back where I had it. Right here. And when I fire it up, I'm going to see what it sounds like. If it sounds like it's running alright, I'm getting my grinder, I'm cutting it off right there. Number 2 is acting a little difficult, so I had to just turn because the way it's sticking straight up. So I just had to bend the hose, turn this clip a little bit, and then just tuck it under. And now it's on the same level as this water tube. Alright. Again, 4 was good. Let's see what 1 and 3 do. Now the number 1, same thing like I said before. If you don't have a vise comes in handy. The curve here was doing pretty good, but then again it curved upward, and that's where we were all catching the trouble about this curving upward. Stuck it in the vise, torqued it down a little bit, evened it out, flattened it out, and now it lays below the water pipe. Alright, one more. And now the number 3. Again, had to do number 3 like I did number 1. Had to go down to my vise and find that weak point there and just straighten it out. And then just turn the hose here one way or the other. Now I'm thinking I could take a zip tie. Take a zip tie and just zip them two together. I don't guess this pipe would get too hot where it would interfere that, but the same thing is rubber, so it's just like a rubber radiator hose. I'll take a zip tie and zip tie those two down. Now let's take a look at the clearance that I have. Now it says I don't have to worry about those reed control valves and these hoses in the way. Alright, that point is coming up right after this. Okay, here we go. Here, like I said, I did the zip tie on the number 2 and number 1 right there. So we got all of this open clearance. Heck, I think I could crawl through there myself. Alright, let's go ahead and see how easy the carburetors go in, and without that reed control valve in it. I'm not worried about the throttle cables or the choke cable. I just want to see how easy it goes in without any interference by having those hoses off and disabled for right now. Okay, YouTube, I'm not gonna hook anything up, but I'm just gonna see how quick I can put these carbs in instead of the old-fashioned way. Alright, here we go. I'm not gonna worry about the hose line and none of that stuff. Look at that. 30 seconds. I give it about 30 seconds. Darn, that is so quick. And all I gotta do then is just hook up the gas line, but I can do that, just stick that on through. And then I could hook up the throttle cables and the choke cable. Gosh, that's a whole lot easier than having that reed control valve. I just hope that it runs a whole lot better without the reed control valve. Alright, now since we know how we got it in there and it's in the same position that it would have for the intake, you can see the intake the intakes are right here. Intake is right there on point. So I'm going to take it back out and see how quick I can take it out. And let's go with it. And I ain't even been over to the other side. Coming for the throttle, and then after that, voila, and it's back out. Okay, YouTube, I figured that, I hope that everything goes good like it should. I'm gonna go ahead and prepare this to put this in and get ready to do a startup on it. I don't know whether that's the way it's gonna run or what. Just got the air cleaner off. Now that stuff is hooked up. I don't have the throttle cable hooked up nor the choke. It did that all of a sudden, once in a while. And it's idling right at 1,000. More throatier than it did before, but I don't think that reed control valve has anything to do with it. But it was really great just like that without it. So I'm thinking I'm going to keep it off and see how I do down the road when I take it down the road for a run. So I'll add on to this. I won't post it yet. I'll add on to it once I get it all back together and see how it runs. But other than that, it ain't never idle this great before. Oh, I hear that little hiccup. Hear that little hiccup right there? I don't know where that's coming from. I did a sync on it, and everything was holding steady, even right now with the idling. The needle is holding steady. So I think I'm gonna go from here and maybe just put her on the road and let her get used to it. Maybe she gotta get used to it again. I don't know. Hold on YouTube, I give you a follow-up on this after I put it totally together with the throttle and everything else back in place. Oh yeah, my wife told me today too that Amazon brought me a fuel pump. So I don't know whether that's a fuel pump not keeping up with pressure. You see that? And where that comes from? Okay, YouTube, here I am on the next day where I'm going to pull the carburetors back out halfway and hook up the choke cable and the throttle cable. I remember when I told you about the screwdriver event here that you could drill a hole here. Look, I drilled a hole and it goes right to that screw right there. And there's the choke mechanism. Choke mechanism is right there. Alright, so now instead of having to take these screws out, you just go right on down there with a screwdriver and voila. And the hole that I used was a 17/64 drill bit, and I guess there's no standard screwdriver, but as long as a 17/64 Phillips screwdriver that fits right in there just like a glove. Also too, what I might have messed up yesterday is when I put the intakes in, guess what I didn't do? I didn't tighten up the intake bands on it, and I might have been letting some air escape yesterday while she had a little bit of a hiccup yesterday. So yesterday was hot, today is hotter. I'm doing a little bit at a time because I'm going to do a little bit, go inside, get some AC, and then come back out and hope I don't forget where I left off. Alright, now, also too with this side, you can see I got easy access to put the throttle cables back on and the two screws here. Now what I was thinking about changing is to change these from a Phillip head to a hex head nut type thing, because trying to get a screwdriver to stay fit to keep these going on and off, these can actually get into a bad situation if you ever run the head on the Phillip. So I'm going to check my metric screw box, see if I can get them in a octagon or hex type nut type fit nut I could use for that. Alright YouTube, same thing, I'm right here, got them halfway out, give it a push on right on back in. I'm going to install that new fuel pump today, and then I'm going to replace that clip on the fuel pump. I want to point out this one thing too. These type of clips, try not to use them if you don't have to. Try to get the one that's got a band all the way through it, because they close in a circumference, not just in a grab, and next thing I know you get a hose cut. And that's where I saw that air coming in through the air filter. It must have been from the fuel pump. So I'm going to change that fitting on that and see if the chicken wing doing it different after that. Also, I'm going to point out this last minute thing. All these holes that you see that like these are for the throttle linkage. I just wondered, did you guys know that these holes here for the threaded area goes all the way through to the inside of the tub? So if you ever run in the bike without having the throttle linkage up like I did yesterday, I just control it by the hand throttle here, that these two holes here were sucking air. So the same thing, check your inner holes you got that you might have removed something or haven't put it back on yet. Those holes are sucking air. And I believe the same thing for these here for the air cleaner. I just had the air cleaner just sitting on top with my hand on it, thinking that it was just sucking through the filter, but it was sucking through these holes and these holes. So try to make sure you got everything kind of covered up, put the screw back in it if you're going to run it without the throttle linkage on it. Final look at the quick fix for the choke. Screwdriver goes right in there, right straight down to it. Voila, quick fix. Choke is already attached, quick fix. Alright, moving on. Okay, look as it go. I did find me one bolt that went to that, and guess what? It's a 10 millimeter. Here's my 10 millimeter socket. And you know how hard that one on the inside is to get there, and that's hand tight. So, but still, even though this one is a Phillip, I shouldn't have too much problem getting that off. But as long as I got that one on the inside with a bolt, I'm a happy camper. Find something new every day. So if you can change these out to a bolt, makes it a whole lot easier to get them off instead of stripping those Phillips screws. Okay, YouTube, this is second day. What I've done, I put the choke linkage back on. I put the throttle linkage back on. I put the air cleaner, that's back on. All the external hose that I had that was probably sucking air yesterday while I was running a little crazy yesterday, we're gonna see how she's gonna run today. I'm gonna see if I can start it with no choke. So we're gonna see how that goes. Alright, let me get set up here. Like that. Then she'll settle down, and then she'll go up to 2,500, 3,000 by herself. Set the cruise right there around about 1,400 RPMs and see how that's gonna do. Normally after it warms up a little bit, does a little bit better, but we're gonna see how this is gonna go. check that. It's after it kind of warmed up a little bit. I had the idle turned up a little bit, and then it began to come out. I turned it back down, and as I gradually came down to about 1200, I want to say 1100, and it's idling like it's supposed to idle. Again, that is without the reed control valve in it, and it accelerates, comes back down like it's running like it ought to run. Just seems like it just get a gremlin in there once in a while, especially on startup. Now my fuel pump is going click, 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 click. Sometimes it gets crazy and it goes to click, 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 click. So I'm thinking that either it's the fuel pump is either not keeping up with it, or either it's pumping too much fuel. Now what I did earlier, I turned the fuel petcock back to almost turned off, and then I said it turned off. Then I turned the fuel back on, started back up, and it ran just like that. So I'm at a loss, trying to think that I'm gonna blame it on the fuel pump. Now the fuel pump is clicking erratic. Clickety click, 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 clickety click, 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 and that is quick. So if it's clicking, it can't be the fuel pump relay. So we're gonna see how it goes from here. Maybe I have to take it up the road a little bit. All right, stand by. I don't know if you guys can see it, but what I did to help alleviate the pressure in the tank from it going whoosh when I take the cap off, I took a 1/64 inch drill bit and drilled right through the center of this gas cap, and it went through a red plug up on the bottom where it looked like it wants to try to vent from. But what I did take this gas cap off the bike itself, clean it with some cleaning fluid before I ran the drill through it because I didn't want no fire. But now I don't have the whoosh in the tank, so maybe that this cap, I might need a new cap, or if it continues to run pretty good without the pressure in the tank. And this time I didn't see any air bubbles returning back to the tank. I don't know whether because I took the pressure off the tank by drilling a hole in this cap, but it stopped the air bubbles from coming back. Okay, I'm gonna wind up and put it the seat back on, false tank and all that, and take her up the road and let her run at a low idle. Try to keep it under 2500 RPM just to see how it runs, especially with the reed control valve removed, and see how it operates on the highway. I would do it at a low RPM, then I'll do it at a highway RPM. Alright YouTube, hope I've got the chicken wing kind of got that grumbling out of it, and maybe she's fighting that pole board conversion and the dark side tire that I got on the back. But we can see who's gonna prevail. Either she can leave me on the side of the highway and have to call my wife to come pick me up with the truck and the trailer, but that's what you got to do. Alright, talk to you again in a short day, YouTube. Okay, here's my ending conclusion. Took it for a test run. Like I said, anything over 2500, just as smooth as a brand new Goldwing. But once it get under 25 or 100 RPMs, it wants to do that sluggish, like it's not getting enough gas. So I'm come to the conclusion that either one, I've got a brand new fuel pump, not keeping enough pressure up there for the lower gears, but it runs anything over 2500 like it's brand new. Now, and if it's not the brand new fuel pump, since I already have it, I'm gonna wind up and order some of those number 40 jets, because I cleaned everything on that car that needed to be cleaned except for taking them and separating them apart. And sometimes it will run just as even, but I'm thinking about the pressure, because I'd be listening to the clicking on that fuel pump, and it's erratic. I'm talking about it click, 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 and then it goes clickety, click, 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 and then it goes clickety, click, 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 click. So I'm gonna do that and see where they go from there. So tomorrow, day 3, I'm gonna take that fuel pump off and put this new one up just got. Alright, YouTube, I ain't giving up on it. I ain't gonna let a thing like this get me down or get the best of me. I'm gonna fix it.